I have two things I wanted to tell you. One is to catch you up on the boat ramp situation on the Highland Lakes. On Lake Travis, 1 of 11 public boat ramps remains open. That's Mansfield Dam Park, operated by Travis County Parks, and we expect that ramp to remain open through Labor Day and through the end of the year. On Lake Buchanan, 1 of 4 public boat ramps remains open, and that is at White Bluff Park, operated by Burnett County. Burnett County will decide when and if that ramp closes, and then we'll put it on our website, but that's not an LCRA decision. We do ask if you mention those in your stories that you say public boat ramps. There's a million ways to enjoy the lake. One of them is through a boat, and all of the marinas are still open, and those folks are experts at launching boats. So these are public boat ramps that we're talking about. Marinas are still open and can help launch your boats. One other note, the other Highland Lakes are not affected by these lower lake levels, so those boat ramps remain open. The other thing is to tell you, in your press package, you've got still photos of both Lake Travis and the Pedernales. They are labeled, whether they're the Pedernales or Lake Travis. If you need aerial video, I've got those. Just track me down later. I'll be happy to fix you up with that. All of our speakers will be available for one-on-one interviews after their presentations. So let's start. It's my pleasure to introduce the new General Manager of LCRA, Ms. Becky Motal.
Thank all of y'all for being here. We really do appreciate it. You know, you're helping us get the word out about the seriousness of the drought, and we appreciate the work that you do to help us get that message out. The drought is serious. I think we can all look around and just see from our yards, the lakes, parks, that it's a serious drought that we're in. It is, over the last 9 months, the driest that it's ever been in the state of Texas. It's very dry. The inflows into the lakes are significantly lower. So we have to continue to communicate to people the seriousness of the drought and do what we can. The other thing, though, even though this drought is very serious, the lakes are still in good shape. In fact, we have not yet reached a drought worse than the drought of what we call the drought of record in the 40s and the 50s. So the lakes are more than half full, and as you'll hear from Leah and Bob Rose, they'll give you a lot more details about that. It's important that we all recognize what we can do to help mitigate some of the effects of the drought. You know, pay attention to information, try to conserve water, do the various things that you're going to see on our applications that can help you understand the seriousness and what we can all do as residents and leaders to mitigate the impacts of the drought. You can see here some of the things, you know, access iPhone apps or our website where we'll talk about the lake levels and the drought and other things that we can do. And with that, I will be happy to answer questions later, but I'm going to turn it over to Leah Manning, who many of you know is our manager of river management. Thanks.
Thank you, Becky. Folks, it's dry. It's really dry, as Becky has indicated. Last really good rain that we had was in September of 2010, and here we are in July. In addition to that, it's hot, even for Texas. We're seeing some of our tributaries dry up, like Sandy Creek and Pedernales, and our other tributaries go to a trickle. But the good news is, as Becky indicated, our lakes, Travis and Buchanan, are over 50% full, and they are doing what they're supposed to do, and we have enough water for our cities and industries to get us through a drought of record. Because of the low inflows, increased evaporation, and water use by our customers, Lakes Travis and Buchanan continue to fall. Lakes fill up in two ways, by inflows and rainfall. Inflows are the discharge from our tributaries, our creeks and rivers, into the lakes. And we've had very little of each. I did want to talk to you a little bit more about the inflows that we've had since January. On the chart to your left, the blue represents the average historical inflows we've seen into the Highland Lakes. The gray represents the inflows from 2009, and the green represents the inflows we've experienced so far in 2011. The inflows we've seen from January through June are 10% of the historical average inflows. for any such period dating back to 1942 when Lake Travis was constructed. For the month of June, the inflows are 1% of average. And this is the lowest June we've ever seen and the third lowest inflows we've seen in any one month. We expect the inflows to continue to be low due to dry soils and lack of rainfall. Lake Travis, as of this morning, is at 642.62 feet above mean sea level, about 26 feet below the average for the month of July. By September, if we continue to see these drought conditions, we expect it to be between 633 and 637 feet, or about 30 feet below the average for September. By October, again, if these drought conditions continue, we expect Lake Travis to be between 630 and 634 feet below the October average. Comparing this to 2009, the lowest Lake Travis got was about 629.8 feet in October of that year. Lake Travis may fall below that by the end of this year if the drought continues. A large portion of our water supply comes from Lake Travis and Buchanan for this region. In 2009, the combined storage of those lakes fell to 39%. Today, we're at 52%. If the drought continues, we expect that combined storage to reach about 45% by the end of August, which is about 45% full. LCRA is managing our lakes for water supply. We are following our state-approved water management plan to ensure there is enough water for our cities and industries. This is important since our region's economy depends on reliable drinking water and water to run businesses and utilities. The plan spells out what to do when the storage in the lakes reach certain levels, which we call triggers. And at our next trigger is at a combined storage of 900,000 acre feet, and today we're at 1.05 million acre feet. An explanation of these triggers are in the handouts that you received. We've already asked our customers, our cities and industries to voluntarily reduce their water use, which they are doing by implementing such things as no more than twice a week watering. And when we reach that next trigger, we will ask them to reduce even more. We've also been working on ways to reduce the demands of our downstream farmers. And if the drought continues, water releases for downstream farmers will be significantly cut back next year. In closing, Lakes Buchanan and Travis are over 50% full, doing what they're supposed to do, and we have the water that is needed by our cities and industries through a repeat of the drought record. As Becky said, finding ways to save water helps everyone, whether at home, the office, the industry, or the farm. So with that, I will turn it over to Bob Rose, our Chief Meteorologist.
Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to catch you up just real quickly as to where we are in the weather side of this drought. The drought continues to track along as being one of the worst droughts we have seen in Texas history. And now that we're in the middle of summer, when it's typically the hottest and driest of the year, we're just not seeing much change. And I'm not very optimistic we're going to see a lot of change anytime real soon, unless we were to get something to come north out of the Gulf of Mexico. Just real quick, I wanted to show you this graphic about rainfall across Texas over the last 9.5 months. And you can see that much of the region right now continues to be between about 15 and 20 inches below normal. And this whole area of darkest maroon is about 20 inches below normal. Much of the hill country is running around 15, 17 inches below normal. That's really incredible when you think about our average rainfall in a given year is about 30 inches. We're running about near 20 inches below normal. That's a phenomenal figure. And along with that has been the incredible heat so far this summer. This is a map showing just temperature departure from normal. Our area is running about 5-6 degrees above normal in temperatures. Areas out to the west are running even more than that, 6 to 8 degrees above normal. And just some statistics, these are in your folder. It's the second hottest June on record we just came out of. July average temperature right now is 89.1 degrees. We're in second place for the second hottest July on record. Our average high temperature so far this month, again, this is in Austin, it's been 101.4 degrees, just incredible. And in July 2009, just in comparison, it was 102 degrees. So we're tracking just right behind the weather conditions in July of 2009, which was the hottest July on record. So far in Austin, up through yesterday, we've had 36 days where the temperature's been at or above 100 degrees. This is well above our normal annual total of about 13. And again, we're only right about the middle of summer. July rainfall in Austin right now, 0.01 inches. We've had hardly any rain officially. Yes, we've had some spotty showers around the area a couple of days ago, but most areas did stay dry. And the rainfall since last October here in Austin has been just under 11 inches, and we're currently running in the city now about 17.5 inches below normal, going all the way back to October. And again, remember, our average annual total is about 33, 34 inches, so that really does tell you something. Looking at the latest national drought monitor focused on Texas, and this was just updated this morning, and again, it's a reflection of conditions on the ground. We now see exceptional drought, that worst category of drought, covering almost the entire state now. In fact, the latest figures show over 75% of Texas is now in exceptional drought. This is a record. Very few places are not in drought. In fact, if you look at the amount of Texas in drought, it's 99% of Texas is in some form of drought. And again, 3/4 of the state is in exceptional drought. And if you look at where we are in Austin and in relation to the Colorado River Basin, I would say about 99% of the Colorado River Basin is in exceptional drought. This is a very serious drought. If you look out at water temperatures in both the Atlantic and the Pacific, I wanted to show you this. This is water temperature anomalies. Out in the Pacific right now, we are seeing near normal temperatures. La Nina has ended. We are in a neutral phase of the Pacific. And on the Atlantic side, we're seeing warmer than normal temperatures from the Gulf all the way through the Caribbean and out into the Atlantic. Conditions are favorable for an active hurricane season. We've already had our third named storm in the Atlantic. We're only into late July. We still have the real heart of the season coming up in August and going into September, early October. So there are forecasts. This is going to be an active season. We're just hoping that maybe some of this activity might come toward the Texas coast later this summer. I wanted to also show you the Pacific side as well. I mentioned we're currently in a neutral phase in the Pacific, but there's now growing evidence we may be trending back toward La Nina a little bit later this year. And as you know, La Ninas bring our region drier than normal rainfall in the late fall, winter months. So this is a little bit troubling to see that we could be going back into another winter period of drier than normal weather. This is the new drought outlook from the National Weather Service, just released this morning as well. This is a 3-month outlook looking ahead through October. And they're also showing now drought persistence across much of Texas, some limited improvements down along the coast in hopes of maybe some tropical weather influencing that area. We get some monsoon rains out in the west. But the big message here is that there's no clear end to the drought right now, especially looking out just 3 months, that drought persistence across the area. And finally, just wanted to show you, this is also the latest outlook from the National Weather Service released this morning. This is looking at temperatures across for our area in August. Of course, hotter than normal. August is almost always hot, but with a drought of this proportion in place, we're going to see more 100-degree heat here. So their outlook is for above normal temperatures. No big change in the rainfall forecast either, below normal rainfall. Then looking ahead to August, September, October, continued above normal temperatures. And they went for more or less equal chances of above, below normal rainfall here, mainly because of the threat of tropical weather during that period. But otherwise, we're just not seeing a real clear end to the drought coming up in the near future. So August is likely to be a very hot, very dry month across our region. Drought conditions that are already bad are likely to continue to get worse.